Hello and welcome back to Shakesyear. We are working on the troublesome reign of King John, and we get to hear from Essex today in Act 2, Scene 3. Essex, along with a lot of the other nobles, are very angry at King John, in no small part because Arthur is dead. They had wanted him to release Arthur after he was coronated for the second time, but then they find out that Arthur is actually dead, and they reason that King John is the cause thereof. So they go off and decide that they are going to back Louis the Dauphin because he has the best claim to the throne now, because he's married to Blanche, who is the niece of King John, but through his elder brother. So therefore, Louis the Dauphin has the better claim to the throne. King John, in the meantime, sort of had to give up his crown to the church in order to be welcomed back into the church, thus fulfilling the prophecy of the prophet, who is now dead. And Cardinal Pandolf was like, the only way that you're going to salvage this is if you give up your crown. So he didn't really want to, but then he got news that Louis the Dauphin and the French army was starting to attack, starting to invade, and he's like, I guess I got to do this. And that was the end of Act 2, Scene 2. So at the top of Act 2, Scene 3, we've got a bunch of nobles assembled. We have Pembroke, we have Essex, we have Chester, we have a whole bunch of them. They've gotten together and they're like, okay, this is our meeting spot. They're at Bury St. Edmund. They're at their meeting spot so they can figure out how exactly they're going to overthrow John. And they're just chatting like, okay, who are you bringing and when do we expect people to arrive? And, is this your people coming now, or is it, are your people coming later? Who is this that's approaching? And the person who's approaching is Philip the Bastard, who, remember, King John, when he decided that he needed to turn all of this around, he sent Philip the Bastard to talk to the nobles and try to talk them down so that they won't revolt against him anymore. So the nobles are all there and they're ready to start plotting, and the bastard walks in. He's with some other nobles, with Percy and a few others. He's like, hey, how's everybody doing? You and your nice Christian selves, how you doing? And Essex says, cheerly replied, brave branch of kingly stock, a right Plantagenet should reason so. But silence, lords, attend our coming's cause. The servile yoke that pained us with toil on strong instinct hath framed this conventicle to ease our necks of servitude's contempt. Should I not name the foeman of our rest, which of you all, so barren in conceit, as cannot level at the man I mean? But, lest enigmas shadow shining truth, plainly to paint, as truth requires no art, the effect of this resort importeth this: to root and clean extirpate tyrant John. Tyrant, I say, appealing to the man, if any here, that loves him. And I ask, what kinship, lenity, or Christian reign rules in the man to bar this foul impeachment? First, I infer the Chester's banishment for reprehending him in most unchristian crimes was special notice of a tyrant's will. But were this all, the devil should be saved. But this, the least of many thousand faults that circumstance with leisure might display. Our private wrongs, no parcel of my tale, which now in presence, but for some great cause, might wish to him as to a mortal foe. But shall I close the period with an act abhorring in the ears of Christian men? His cousin's death, that sweet, unguilty child, untimely butchered by the tyrant's means. Here is my proofs, as clear as gravel brook, and on the same I further must infer that who upholds a tyrant in his course is culpable of all his damned guilt. To show the which is yet to be described. My Lord of Pembroke, show what is behind. Only I say that were there nothing else to move us but the Pope's most dreadful curse, whereof we are assured if we fail, it were enough to instigate us all with earnestness of spirit to seek a mean to dispossess John of his regiment. So this is Essex sort of laying out the argument against King John as if he was in a court or something like that, but he's not in a court. He's just talking to a whole bunch of nobles, a lot of which are already on his side. But with the introduction of the bastard, who they don't know exactly what his loyalties are yet, it makes some of it a little bit interesting. So he starts out saying like, okay, we're going to talk about the elephant in the room. And just in case anybody here still likes the elephant in the room, let me ask you why? What has he ever done that would make him not an elephant in the room? And he's like, just for clarity's sake, I'm talking about John, who's a tyrant and behaving like a tyrant. And he needs to be unseated because he's behaving like a tyrant. He's like, he banished Chester. He's done personal things to all of us. And maybe the worst one of all is that he had Arthur killed. So even if all we had was the Pope telling us that we should unseat John, like that should be enough. But we have all of these other things too. We have all of this evidence that John is a tyrant and he should give up his crown. He should be dispossessed. He should be deposed. He should be removed from power. And of course, Pembroke, who is referenced in this speech as having additional evidence to show, Pembroke is going to tack on to this with another monologue tomorrow. So I'll see you then for that. Mwah.